Ultimately, the best approach is to look at a form of a hybrid solution. It's not really a question of moving totally digital. The reality is that the book is never going to disappear. It's been here for 500 years. It's not going anywhere. The best strategy is to transition to a hybrid model that combines both a print and digital solution, which focuses value on the majority of your members. No one organization has specific enough audience to say that we need only print or only digital. By leveraging both at the same time, you create an environment that you hit the largest majority of your audience as possible. The next key thing that you're going to want to look at is revenue model. Obviously, you're going to want to get paid for the content and the solutions that you're providing. Currently today, there's 5 primary revenue models that are being used when along with digital publishing. The first is a conversion catalyst. This ultimately doesn't have a direct revenue. Essentially, this means that you're providing content and propagating a message to people to drive traffic back to your main core offering, which may be your membership or a subscription to the print magazine itself. Next is single issue sales, which most of us have commonly used in the past, which is you just simply sell single issues for whether it be $1, $3 an issue, where people will buy it, get that single issue, and if they want next month's, they come back and get next month's. One of the more attractive is subscription models. This allows you to, very similar to print, have a subscription-based model on every month where you're generating a recurring revenue, guaranteeing you a revenue on every single month that allows you to gauge how much revenue you're going to make over the course of the year, rather than just hoping that you sell as many issues as you did last month as you are this month. In addition to this, you've obviously got an ad revenue. Associations also gain revenue from selling advertising in their digital magazines. This may include an extra charge on print packaging for additional exposure, sponsor of new and additional content in the digital edition, or a premium advertising in the digital edition, which is more luxurious than the typical print page. You can add interactive videos, elements that people can interact with and eventually go back to the site with. And the final model is app sales, where you do one-off applications that would be sold on various mobile devices. Realistically, the majority of people are going to want to use some combination of this. You're going to want to use several issues as a catalyst to bring people in to either subscribe to the subscription model, as well as get your ad revenue from another side. Recently, in 2010, INM did a survey with the association market, and we found some interesting things, that most associations are offering some combination of resources that are free to everyone or free to their members. And currently 41.8% of associations are selling their documents either on a per issue basis or through some form of subscription model. The next big thing that you're going to want to really dive into is your content. You're going to want to get more specific and really clarify which items you want to promote or distribute in your digital strategy. The first question you're going to want to ask yourself in this process is, what content do you have? As I mentioned before, this may be blog posts, journal articles. Most likely you're going to be oriented around your publication. You don't want to forget either that old back issues or print publications can also be leveraged. Even if they're not digitized, the process of digitizing those and making them available in the same solutions as you would by going straight out from InDesign or whatever your pre-press process is quite simple. There's a variety of different choices, and you can leverage destructive digitizing at around 20-30 cents a page, or if these issues have some historical value that you can't destroy them, you can do non-destructive digitizing, which will keep those issues and you'll still have them for archival purposes over time. A very important question that I often run into with most of the clients that I've worked with is actually about the rights to publish. Once you've figured out which publications or which content you're going to want to leverage, you really want to go back, figure out if you have the rights to distribute it. Very often what happens is that people license those content for a print edition, but don't take into consideration digital publishing, or contracts are so old that there was no consideration to be done at that time. You're going to want to go back and see if you can either renegotiate these rights, or if you've already got them, you're good to move forward. Once you've got your rights in check, the next important question you want to ask yourself is there value to have your documents displayed in an archive, allowing people to leverage the content as a whole or individually? Processes and tools are an important aspect of this. Within our companies, or even if you're leveraging a third-party company to produce your publication for you, you want to make sure that the way that those documents are being created, as well as the content, flow into the processes that you've already got in place. A number of these would be your website. How would you like this to be integrated into your website? Do you want it to be displayed directly into it? Is it just is it only a communication channel that drives readers to your publication, or is it going to be directly connected within to your tool or into your website, either through membership management, and actually track feedback as well as usage back through your website, giving you analytics as well as distribution? The other important part of this is actually the publishing tools that you use. Now, there's an important part of this, that those tools and the processes that are in place can change. They should ultimately be part of the decision, but they're not normally taken as deciding factors in the process. This is because that often the processes and tools are too rigid or need modification, but you have to take these into account to see what your cost is in either retraining, customizing these tools, modifying these tools, so that you can actually distribute your publications correctly. So when looking at them, you want to take them with a grain of salt and look at them and say, okay, there's this much cost in changing the processes. Does it outweigh the feature, or is the feature that essential that we need to change those processes? Ultimately, over time, both the processes, your digital publishing and your print, will merge into one smooth, sequenced set of steps. Once you've looked at your content, your audience, the type of content that you've got, you can really start looking at the solutions and driving into them. In doing so, you've got to kind of break this down into three little smaller steps. The first is really what type of publication you want to deliver to people. The BPA recognizes 4 different types of publications. The first is a dynamic approach and is often the least used or seen by people. This is where either the publisher or the reader can choose the exact type of content that's delivered. The type of content can vary by user, and it may be different each time the publication is produced. They're often quite complex, custom-built solutions that can feed off of your blog, Twitter, your social networking, as well as other contents that you may have. The next is a targeted publication, which provides different types of content to different types of users. This often depends on demographic info or even if the platform that they're using. Really what changes is that the overall impression or look of the publication is identical from one to the other. What changes is the content inside of it. You may have a set of content that is distributed to the East Coast versus the West Coast, focusing on important conferences or sessions that are going on in those two specific areas, while the same look and feel is present. The next is an enhanced publication, is one where the print content is created first and additionally often related. Content is then produced to enhance the experience for the reader. The enhanced content can be further printed or include digital elements like photos and videos. So the general look and feel is the same as your print publication, but you almost stack elements on top of it. So as you're flipping through your magazine, you may come to a print ad or an image in line with text that is just a static image in your print. In your enhanced publication, you're able to put a slideshow or a video on top of it that when a user clicks, they can view that video. And the final is a replica. This is created when a digital publication already exists and the digital version is created from that print. Basically, they're identical copies. If you look at it in print or you look at it in digital, you're going to see the same look and feel. Once you've decided the type of publication, this is directly going to tell you what type of platforms you want to hit and the type of technologies that you, or the main types of technologies that you're going to use. As an example, if you're going to want to go out to mobile devices such as the iPad or Android, you're probably going to be looking at more of an enhanced or a targeted publication, whereas on the desktop you may be wanting to leverage a dynamic. And for the most part, all of these, except for the e-readers, will support the replica enhanced type of publications. When you've decided on your platforms, you're going to want to take into account the underlying technology. Now, there's a bit of a twist to this because it depends on if you're looking at leveraging a third-party solution that is a prepackaged set of features and functionality versus developing in-house. When you're developing in-house, this question is much more relevant to you than those taking an off-the-shelf solution. For example, if you're going to want to go out to, let's say, e-readers such as the Kindle or the Nook, you're definitely probably looking at more of a dynamic type solution that is going to leverage EPUB or something along that line, because they don't have the refined capabilities of displaying video and integrating audio depending on platform. Flash-based solutions are excellent. They hit most of the targeted markets. However, they do have their own limitations in that the iPad, iPhone don't completely support them. And there are nuances from device to device as to whether, for example, in the Android device, whether it's too early of a device that it's not supporting it versus the new one. You really just want to take this into account in knowing how much of your target market you can. If you see from your own web statistics that 90% of your users are using iPads to read your content and view your content, you're probably going to want to steer away from a completely flash-based solution. PDF is probably the most relevant or most used solution today. Most associations are delivering their PDF, and this is because it directly fits in with just about everybody's workflow. Every publisher generates a PDF for pre-press work, and that document is already created, so you can instantly push it onto your website. However, there's a number of problems that come from this. Often there's a lot of wasted